Log4j, oh my god. So last 2 weeks is like real crazy stuff, guys. So I believe if you are working on a SOC, working on a blue team, you might have gone the same journey that I have went through in past few days, right? So why I am doing this podcast today, because I have observed from my experience there are tons of resources made by community and made by people who are working in this industry. So there are tons of resources by which you can identify if your system which is vulnerable or not. Okay, but what if you need to identify if someone has got into your network? By doing the log search you can identify that, hey, I have been targeted. Okay, I know that, but what are the next steps of that? I am not talking about the remediation part, so that's the kind of thing that is already present in the internet. So I am talking about what could be your steps as an incident responder to identify if a machine is successfully compromised or not. By doing the log search in the community tools, using the community tools, you will get to know that the exact things that you have been targeted. But who will tell you that if you have been targeted and that target has been successful? So what are the 1 2 3 4 steps that you need to take being an incident responder to identify if the attack is successful or not? So that will drive your next phases of triage, and that will drive your next course of action for your organization, and I am going to show you that exact steps today. So stay tuned, and we are starting right now. Okay, so the first thing first, what basically I did, I have spinned up one honeypot server which is running on my AWS instance. So if you see this particular sucker over here, so this particular machine is my Minecraft log4j honeypot, and I had spinned it up just for just to capture whatever the things that we are basically doing over here, and if any attacker comes in and they try to scan, so that I can so basically I let the server open and I let the attacker come in, so I can analyze the box to understand the behavior, the pattern of the box, what the attacker is doing, and all those stuff. So basically whenever incident responder job has to do the forensic analysis and just to identify what actually happens once the attacker came in, so we can drill on those stuffs, right? Okay, so the stuff is that, so it is pretty simple. You can also install the similar kind of Minecraft server, so I'll leave the link in the description. So it's quite simple. So you can spin up what Docker, and or either you can just git clone this thing and you can build it on your own. Okay, just remember you need this Golan 1.16 plus, otherwise it won't run. So we will directly jump into our machine here. So I am logged into that particular box, which basically was my honeypot. So if I do a quick pwd over here, so my system is little bit slow, allow me. Yeah, so pwd, so I'm inside home Ubuntu. So this was my machine, and if I go to quickly cd opt, and if I want to show you guys, so you see, so this was my Minecraft, that honeypot, the thing that I have spinned up. Okay, so let's consider this machine has been attacked. Okay, and what exactly the things that we need to do on this particular machine. Okay, so the first thing is that we will leverage Florian root script, which is a log4 shell detector. It's a simple Python script, and we will leverage that. Okay, so for doing that, what I'm gonna do, not this one, so I'm gonna simply git clone this particular file. Okay, so code, yes, this particular sucker I have just copied the thing off, and what I'll do, I'll sudo git clone, then I'll paste this particular thing off over here. Okay, so it has been copied. Now if I do a quick ls, so you see log4 shell detector is already here. Okay, so I'll go inside that and I will see what are the files. Okay, so log4 shell detector.python. Okay, so you can call this particular file in if you are using any kind of like interpreter, like intermediate interpreter, let's say Jupyter notebook or something like that. So you can leverage that as well. Okay, so they have drilled down this particular thing really beautifully. Okay. Okay, so what exactly I will do now, I will simply run this particular script. Let me make the screen little bit bigger. So Python 3, so if you are running with Python 2 as well, so you can run that as well. Okay, so I'll run it Python 3, then log4 shell detector dot py. Then I need to specify the path, okay, on which path I am searching for. So I'm searching for inside my var log directory. Now what exactly the thing I am looking for? So if you remember, if you have watched any of the or read any of the articles, so there is a particular JNDI string that attacker simply paste on your or like web application onto your server, which is vulnerable to this log4j. So they will try to inject. So this particular script is basically going to your log folder, so you do not need to do it manually. This script will go to your log folder and it will try to search for those indicators if present in the logs or not. Okay, so the same thing we are doing it over here, and I will specify tac verbose. Okay, or we can simply specify debug, so that will also work. Okay, now you see the command is running now, and it will take some time. So and now it's it's already done. It took only 4 seconds, but this is not my any kind of production machines. But if it is, it could be a like your production machine, so it can take around 18 to 20 minutes, or depending on my experience or whatever I have worked on with my clients, so it took around, like, it can take around 30 minutes also to run. Okay, so now you see the interesting stuffs are already coming up, guys, over here. Okay, so you see there are so many things. Okay, so if I go to the extreme bottom section, you see scan took this thing and finished the date, and 95 exploit attempts detected in this complete scan. So my machine was targeted 95 times. Okay, so now this particular thing is quite visible, I believe. So now what exactly the thing is happening over here? So you see JNDI LDAP. So this was the extract, like the string or whatever maybe you can call up. So this particular thing we were looking for into our the log file, right? And so if you see, this particular thing is this is the IP address of my machine. If I want to show you quickly, so if I go to here in the instance ID, yes, you see this is my IP address of my machine. Okay, and you see this particular thing was looking into my machine, and it has ran that like that way. Okay, so now if I scroll up a little bit over here, so you see there are a lot of base 64 commands that has been also injected. And now if you know, this is the IP address, guys. So this was the main IP address which was basically responsible for doing this attack, which was observed heavily in the community and heavily in the internet. Okay, so this was the main IP address. And now if you see, there are a lot of base 64 strings that has been passed. So if I quickly copy this particular sucker off, and if I try to decrypt this particular script, because we might get some more artifacts, or we might get some more IOCs to look into it while we are looking for this kind of string. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll simply paste this particular thing off. This is my input, so I am using Cybershape again. These are base 64. Now if you see, this is an IP address. Okay, so this was, I can tell you, this was my IP address what I was using previously when I spinned up this particular box. So I had to reboot my machine, so my IP address got changed. Okay, but this was my IP address. Okay, and if you see, this is a random port, and if I go back to the logs, and if I try to look for another string over here, so I'll see similar kind of string probably. Yes, so those are the same IP address. Now it is looking for 9220. Okay, so what exactly happening over here? So attacker is trying to constantly like inject the shells, and he was basically trying to look for or scan for multiple open IP addresses and multiple open ports basically. Okay, so that's the exact thing he or she might have been doing. Now what else also we can see over here? Now if I go back to the logs, you will see somewhere there could be something like, okay, so these are all in access logs. Okay, so we know by that time these are in access logs. Okay, so what we can do here quickly, let me clear up my screen. Oops, sorry, let me clear up my screen here, and if I do a quick cat on where logs, then access logs, and if I want to quickly grep on like 200 status code maybe, because I am looking for yes, so you see there are a lot of 200 status codes are also coming up over here, right? So so that means so these are the attacks that has been successful. Okay, so now here you see there is 404 in a route not found, so that means these payloads were not successful. Okay, so these payloads has not been ran successfully. Okay, and this is another thing, guys. Okay, so if you see, this is a get command. This was something like some DNS log that has been run. Okay, and this is, so this DNS log was also very like observed by the community. Okay, so there was a open shell forum where you can basically dump this payload, and you can simply spin up one of your LDAP server, and you can route that particular payload response to that particular thing. Okay, so if your machine was responsible or your machine was vulnerable, so LDAP server will ping. So that was the same exact thing many of the community people has done, and even Huntress has built up an awesome tool which you can leverage. Okay, so going back to our analysis, so what next we know? So we know by this point of time our machine has been targeted, and probably the injection is successful as well. Okay, so what next? Let me quickly clear up my screen. So now this is a kind of thing, this is becoming a like a forensic analysis, and this is becoming a dead forensic analysis. So what exactly you need to do? You need to capture the snapshot of this particular machine, and you need to do some certain checks which are comes at dead forensic. So I am doing the live forensics over here because it's my test machine, and if you are interested to check how basically you can take the snapshot, you can copy that. I have a video link in the description, it is coming in the I button as well, you can check that out as well. Okay, so now I will start doing my analysis over here. So the first thing I will come up from this particular thing, and if I do a ls, so I have a forensic script installed over here. Okay, so if I quickly show you what is this script all about, vi forensic sh. Okay, so this was a custom script that I made some time back. I am yet to release this particular script to the community, so stay tuned for that. I am not basically getting time to work on it, but the same script I am gonna run here as well. Okay, so if I do ls minus lha over here, it is executable, and what I need to do, I need to run this particular script of sudo then bash then forensic.sh. Okay, so this particular script is called as power forensics, and it will capture this all of the things, and it will try to get me the logs. Okay, so I am basically interested to know the quick artifacts. Okay, and these are the main artifacts you should be looking for on any kind of Linux machine which has been like there has been a compromise, or you are suspecting there could be a compromise. So these are the main things that you need to look for. Okay, so I am not interested to capture the raw logs like the volatile memory, so I'll go and put exit. Okay, so these things are done. So if I do a quick ls minus lha, so you see there has been evidence folder got created. Okay, so I'll quickly go to my evidence directory over here, and I'll have all of these logs captured over here. Okay, so the first thing that I am interested to look for is the file logs. Okay, so file logs is the log which is basically scanning my machine and trying to identify if there is any files that has been created in like last 3 4 days or last 1 days maybe, which I am interested to look for, and I am looking for the temp direction, okay, the temp location. Okay, so what I am gonna do, I am gonna open that particular file of cat files.log. Okay, yes, so now you see these are all the temp files. Now if you see here quickly, there are something catching my eyes here observably, right? So there are some shell script over here. You see build openssl.sh, build hw.sh, and this looks like dodgy because uh, we do not have any use case to create some kind of thing over here. Okay, so we can quickly check the md5 hash of this particular files maybe. So md5 sum, then temp, and then probably build open ssh. Okay, yeah, I got the md5. So what we can do, we can quickly call this particular thing off, and we can check this particular file in virus total. So I am not fully confident that we will definitely get something like that, or we can find some match, but at least we can try to find out something, right? Okay, so I'll pull that up and I'll search this particular thing off. Okay, yeah, so no match found as I expected. Okay, so now what exactly, so maybe we can open that particular file, but again this is a test environment, so I won't suggest you guys to open this particular file while doing live forensics. You have to take these like files off from the machine, and then you try to analyze these particular files. Okay, but I can open it. So I am just opening this particular file off. So let me see what exactly this thing is giving me over here. Okay, 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 so dips, okay, OpenSSL. This looks like creating some kind of certificate, right? Yes, build SSH. So what was the another file? hw.sh. So we can open that file up also if we can identify what exactly the thing is going on. Okay, so I have opened that file. I just needed to give a quick cat command. So now if you see, so this looks like something. So download open mfi org release hw log. So okay, so I think I got this file. So this is looking like some kind of minor script, but I am not sure at this point of time. Okay, so let me quickly check about this file if I can get something about this file. So what I can do, so I am not going to paste it over here, rather I am just going to search that file off, just to understand what this file is all about. Okay, so okay, so this is looking like to okay, hw log documentation. Okay, so why do we need an hw log file? So that was another mystery. Okay, so it is opening a connection and it is configuring something, and okay, it is taking the, you see, it is taking the cpu utilization as well over here. Okay, so now if I quickly search about this file over here, so I'm not very confident that definitely I am gonna find something, but okay, so let me try get cpu information of linux. So it looks like to be a minor script. Okay, so but I am not sure, but you get the idea, right? So there has been a script that is present in the temp directory, and it looks to be a something which is looking for the cpu utilization or cpu information about my machine. Okay, so and like why cpu utilization is required, and someone exactly need to identify the cpu of the memory, right? cpu of the machine actually. Okay, so moving on, what next we can do, we have some captured other files as well. So I am interested to look for the maybe the user profiles which are present into my machine. So what I can do it over here, so if I quickly open that up, and I am interested to see for user profiles dot logs. Okay, okay, so there is no user profile maybe. Okay, so there could be a reason for that, and current user logged in. So these are also interesting stuff. Okay, So let's open that particular thing off, so we will know what exactly the thing. So obviously this is Ubuntu because we are logged in at this current machine, so there is no other people that has been logged into the machine. And what we can see, cron user log, bash logs. Okay, we can probably check the live network connection also, if that makes sense. So we have observed like the remote machine was trying to communicate, but we do not know if the machine is also trying to communicate back to the that particular IP address. Okay, so we can check that out using maybe this live connection. I'm not sure if there will be any live connection present. Sudo cat, then maybe live connection. Yes, there is no live connection present, but we can check with this thing. Okay, so what are the connection that has been made actually, and what are the processes information we can find, and we can look for that particular IP address over there. Okay. Okay, so again there is nothing, so I'm pretty surprised by seeing. Okay, so okay, so we can look for this particular thingy over here as well. So netstat acha, okay, so netstat command not found, so might be I am not having that particular thing in that in my machine, so that's the reason netstat was so again, as I told you, so the script is currently in build phase. So I need to look for the observables and look for the other stuffs as well, right? So now you see the memory is this much and used memory this free memory, so that looks to be quite okay. And we can also go here and we can check out the CPU utilization from that particular machine, from any kind of whatever the information or whatever the status checks, if you have in build anything, or if you have like configured anything, so you can watch that out. So and even you can watch the monitor section as well. So those are basically the CloudWatch metric, which you can anytime check, by which you can identify what is the CPU utilization of the machine, which will give you the exact foundation to identify whether there is something malicious going on or not. Okay, so from the screen, CPU utilization looks to be okay, but you never know. So if there is anything like anyone is running any kind of miner, whatever the script that we have identified, so you definitely look for something like fishy going on in the CPU utilization section. Okay, so we can check for further things. Let me go back to the terminal over here, and if I quickly clear up my screen, and if I just want to show you again the logs file, that maybe so user profile that was consuming, so I have just dumped the etc password directory over here. So if I do a quick cat, and then if I want to show you user profile.log, now you see these are the all the user profiles that is present currently into this particular box. Okay, so now all of the user files looks to be okay, except something you will see there would be something like fishy. This curl particular user looks to be fishy. Okay, and which has been also created by bin bash. Okay, so so the machine is having clumav, machine is having DNS mask, all of those stuffs are okay. So and we are using Ubuntu and EC2 instance connect. These are all the default user profiles that being present on the machine, but this curl user looks to be suspicious, which doesn't have anything specified with it information, which has given everything as na. Okay, so this particular thing is pretty suspicious for us. Okay, so this particular thing might have been created after the exploit attempt has been done. Okay, so we have now got like two clues. One is file creation inside temp directory, which appears to be something related to minus script. We have identified one user that has been created in the box, which doesn't suit any of our use case. Okay, now what we can also check for this particular machine, if you are running any kind of like debt forensics on the captured snapshot, you can quickly run this clump scan on the captured evidence. Okay, so that will give you the full details if there is any files which has been present in the box which might be matching or which might be matching to a AV signature. So that's a process to quickly scan up, because human eye cannot scan everything, right? So that can give you a real good depth of identification that hey, something is going on. There has been some files which might have been created. Okay, and one last thing that we can also check, we can check for this particular bash log. Okay, you basically need to check all of these things. Okay, but for this tutorial I'm just going to open this particular bash log if there is anything going on to that particular bash. Okay, so sudo then cat then bash dot log. Okay, so the file is empty because there could be something wrong with the way that I am capturing. So as I told you, okay, so you keep on capturing or keep on drilling that file or whatever I am basically doing it over here. Okay, so I can keep on working on that particular script, but meanwhile you get the idea, right? So you need to capture everything, the basic information about that particular file. Okay, so the process list, then the network connection, then the file which has been created on temp, and basically my script basically looks for the files creation inside temp directory, but you can also look for any file creation between the time frame of the interval on which you have observed the exploit attempt that has been done. Okay, so that's a huge thing, you need to identify them as well. Okay, and the things are cron jobs, very important. So if there is something going on to your machine and attacker needs to maintain some kind of persistence, they would definitely drop a cron into your machine. Okay, that is also important. And the last thing is also important, to look for the user evidences, the user file information that might have been created into your machine, so that another process of maintaining the persistence. And expect, like, apart from all these steps anyway, so you will be having like your EDR solution, if you have anything like the WAP solution or IDPS solution, you have to drill down all of your IPs, IOCs. There are tons of network IOCs that is present currently in the community. So you have to keep them updated to your perimeter level, and you need to put the detection rule in place so that you can basically identify if there is something going on or going out from your network. Okay, and be very cautious to look for any kind of outbound communication. Okay, and one thing is very important, you have to look for the matching outbound communication. Okay, so you might see a ton of inbound communication, that is quite expected, because if your application is open to internet, people gonna scan it. Okay, but you need to identify the outbound communication happening to any remote IP which you might not be having a business use case of. And if that outbound communication is only the having the packets of like SYN reset, then only these two packets, so you might not be worried so much, rather than if you see something like SYN SYNAC, SYN SYNAC, SYN SYNAC, these kind of packets are going and there is no RST packet or there is no like FIN packets in between. Okay, and you have to look for the byte transfer. Okay, so those are very important thing to look for while you are analyzing those things. That will give you the identification that how much data, or if there is any established communication being present with your machine and to that box. So these are like the brain charm for you guys, what you basically need to look for while doing incident response for this particular alert. Okay, so yeah, so that's all for today, and I hope if you want to understand anything like how basically you need to do incident response for this particular incident, you have got some idea about it. Okay, so again, incident response is not limited to scope. You need to drill down, you need to work on it, and case to case basis it has to identify. Okay, so I have just shown you some basic steps. If you are working on any Linux platform, feel free to use these steps, and if you are working on Windows, so you have more to look onto it. Okay, so you can feel free to check out my IR flash script, which is basically taking all of the information out of the box and taking all of the information from a Windows box, and you can analyze them as well. Okay, so yeah, that's all, and I'll catch you guys next time with a real good use case. Something really interesting stuff is cooking, so getting cooked by my team, so I'll be happy to share that with you as well. So stay tuned and stay safe.